Hello students, welcome to another session on agro processing industries. Okay, so we have discussed many aspects on food processing industry and agro processing industry. What is the role of agro processing industry? What are the different types of processing industries? What are the related or allied industries in the agro processing? We have discussed on food processing industry, the legal aspects, the government initiatives taken, like everything and each and every aspect of food processing and agro processing industry has been discussed. So today, coming to the end of this session, we are discussing on the challenges before the food processing industries of India. Okay, so the first challenge is lack of adequate infrastructure. The biggest bottleneck in terms of investment and export is the infrastructural lacking of adequate infrastructure or proper or advanced infrastructural facilities. Okay, next is lower technology and no facilities for the research and development, because the processing technologies adopted or used by the processing units in India are of lower quality or lower process and technology. The research institutions including universities have done a very little in terms of technology upgradation and new product development. This again becomes a big challenge in the agro processing or food processing industries, and no facilities are available for proper research for the small scale industries. And third challenge is India's middle class segment and lower class segment. And 70% and more than of the population lives in rural part of India, and this again is a reason for or a challenge for the processing industries. A majority of the women are the non-working housewives, so or can these people, this is again a challenge to the food processing industry. Next is Indian people's habit. The Indian people's eating habit, the Indian plate is accustomed to the traditional food, mostly wheat and rice based rather than potato corn based western plate. Like their food culture and the Indian food culture is entirely different, and Indian people like fresh fruits and vegetables other than frozen, canned or the processed food, fruits and vegetables. Next, the shortage of storage facilities in the cold chain. Yeah, we know the agriculture commodities are perishable in nature and cannot, the shelf life is very low, and a large proportion of the product is lost due to lack of proper storage facilities or cold storage, no adequate storage, warehousing or transportation or distribution or cold storage facilities. Okay, next, the absence of suitable processing varieties in the raw material. The table varieties are not suitable for the processing. Some varieties have such a very short life, like potato is abundantly available in India, but the backward and forward linkages are been very lacking, and this result like forward linkages or more processing is not happening in the potato. Next is seasonality of the raw material. Agriculture commodities are seasonal and irregular in nature. The quantum produced may be vary from year to year. So this again a challenge to the processing industry. Handling equipments, it's not so modern kind of. All the technologies are old technologies. So this is again a kind of challenge. Cold chain, we have discussed earlier, like the cold chain is lacking of the good cold storage facilities in each locality or each district wise. The lacking of this cold storage facility is a reason for the deterioration and the quality and the quantity of the processed industry. Next, huge storage and transportation cost, because we are lacking in this storage and transportation facilities. The cost involved is also so large, and another reason for this huge cost of transportation and storage is the producers are the producers are based on farm or in the rural part, and these have to be transported to the urban areas for the processing. So this involve a large cost in storage and transportation. Next is non-availability of timely financial assistance. This is a big problem to the Indian farmers or Indian processing industry, the non-availability of timely credit or financial assistance. Next is constraints in the law. Even though the farmer struggles like anything to come out and to do good to the processing industry, but there are certain errors or certain drawbacks, the constraints in the law which is pulling back and which is not allowing the processors to do the best. Next is lower quality of the produce. The quality of the produce, since we don't have good processing industries or good processing units, the quality cannot be assured. The standard which are being set by the other developed nation, we are not able to maintain that quality. Next, high cost of the processed food. The demand for the processed food in among the Indian customers is very low because of the high cost of the processed foods, and less than 30% of the Indian families, both the men and women are working, so the purchasing power is also less. And so these are the major constraints or challenges faced by the food processing industries of India, and we need to find a way through by which we can solve all these problems, and these all problems will be converted into a opportunity. So by this we end our session. Thank you all.